Hey, so part two. We've established that there is an author and the author has a design. Now, I hope to establish with you that the author's design is benevolent. It is born of love. And to start this, I will turn to no less a luminous source than David Letterman. And I mean scraggly Letterman, bearded Letterman. Soon after his retirement, he went on record as saying that, I probably have as much as any one person could ever want and more, but the only thing that really brings me happiness is helping others who need help. This giant of a man who, because of his celebrity, probably seems untouchable and could be untouchable, has said that the only thing that brings him happiness is touching others' lives, making a difference in their lives. And this in turn makes him happy. And what Letterman is talking about is the foundational law of love. Think on it. All we really want is to be recognized, to be seen as dignified, as having that human dignity that is conferred upon us with our birth, being welcomed into the family of humanity. This is our most basic need. And everyone seeks this out. Even those who are detached from their human family, those who are whose main motive seems to be greed and profit, even those sociopaths. There's somebody, most likely somebodies, that they want to impress, whose love they want. This is what drives us. This is what encourages us. This is what empowers us. This is what gives us the will and the confidence and the vision to see tomorrow, to see past any obstacle. It gives us individually and communally. Is that a word? Communally? Communally? That gives us the vision to see past and to keep driving and keep building, whether it be individuals, whether it be families, neighborhoods, cities, nations, global society. So let's dial this down a bit. Let's take a look at non-human animals. They too are motivated by love because they take care of their families, they take care of their pack, their tribe. They're not as spiritually, emotionally, mentally developed as human beings, so their idea of love is, like I said, dialed down. Physically, oh yeah, a lot of animal life has us far exceeds us, and will continue to do so. Let's dial back even further. Let's take plant life. Let's take a single blade of grass. For the single blade of grass, the love comes in the form of sunlight, of water, of nutrients in the soil, good soil. This is love for that life. And again, it is even more elemental. You take away that love, then the grass withers and dies. Now, the atheist among us will argue that there's no love, there's no emotion involved in the nurturance of a plant, or maybe even of animal life. This is what they will argue. But I argue differently. And so I suppose that's a matter of faith. That's not something I can really point to and prove, but the analogy is the same. You give love to whatever life, whichever organism, and the organism thrives. This is what we all seek. This is what we all need. Now, building things, right? Like the camera or the computer or the internet, even my clothes. It certainly can be argued that building the things is really to elevate our status and again to give us profit. But if somebody who develops it or somebody who piggybacks on development of that thing and turns it into something that benefits humanity, like the internet, like the camera, like the computer, definitely like my clothes, then there's love involved in that too. Just the production of a thing is not enough to establish love. Take weapons of war. Weapons of war have nothing to do with love at all. But love is needed after the war, after the battle is fought. Love is needed to give hope, inspiration, encouragement, that vision of tomorrow. That would not be there without love. Hope, which many people say is the driving force of humanity, hope wouldn't exist without love. So, whether it be a war between communities, between nations, whether it be the weapons of war that are picked up by some deranged person, uses a rifle as a sniping weapon on an unsuspecting crowd, drives a car or a truck into an unsuspecting crowd, or an airplane into a building, it is love which allows us to conquer, to overcome the hate and the distance that inspires such heinous acts. Love allows us to celebrate events such as these: solstice, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. If you haven't heard me say it yet, Christus Kwanzaa. And love allows us to rebuild from the damage that is done by the absence of love. That is not me arguing that love only exists because of bad and hate. And I'm not arguing that hate exists only because of love. No, what I'm saying is love and its opposite exist because of humanity. Because we're here. That's the reason. Neither one, love or hate, need the other. But humanity, we need love. And as I said a couple of videos back about the latest shooting, at least it was the latest shooting then, unfortunately, some people argue that a loving God would never allow such a thing to happen. And I called them whiners, and I'm calling them whiners still. A God who forces us to do things, pulls the strings and forces us to feel a certain way and behave a certain way. That's not love. That's a crime. And depending upon what we're being forced to do, it can be a most heinous crime. So love is the reason we have free will. Love is the reason that we can make these decisions that have consequences. Love is what drives us. We all seek love. It's just the most basic, elemental law of the universe. And again, this did not have to be. The water did not have to grow the plant. The animals, the birds, didn't have to push the bird out of the nest to have the bird fly. The bird could have just, every time that happens, the bird could have died. We don't have to respond well to love. This is by design. That's incontrovertible. So, there's an author. There's a plan. And the plan is love. That will bring us to part 3. For now, peace 4 fingers, and I'll see you.